welcome to Grow with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens, your go to space for growing, thriving seasonal gardens right here in the wild and wonderful Houston climate. I am Vandana, organic gardener, a permaculture enthusiast, and a garden coach with over 15 years of hands in the soil experience. Whether you're starting with a pot of herbs or a backyard full of weeds, you're in the right place. Each week, I will share practical tips, real life stories, and trusted strategies to help you skip all the overwhelm and grow with confidence. Let's dig in. Have you ever spent $3 on one of those tiny plastic clamshells of herbs at the grocery store? Only to watch them wilt in the fridge after one recipe. Yep, I've been there too. And honestly, it used to drive me crazy. That's why I always say growing herbs is probably one of the best returns on investment you can make as a gardener. A single $3 basil plant can give you $50 to $100 worth of fresh cuttings in a season. And the flavor, there is no comparison. Hi, friends. I'm Vandana with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens, and I'm so excited about today's episode. Just this past weekend, I had the privilege of doing an herb gardening talk at a local nursery here in the Houston area, and the energy was incredible. We had people who had never grown a single herb before standing right alongside seasoned gardeners, all asking questions, sharing stories, swapping tips. And what struck me most was how excited everyone got when they realized how simple herbs really are and how much impact they can have in your kitchen, your wellness routine, and honestly, your whole life. So, today I'm bringing that same conversation to you. We are going to talk about how to grow herbs successfully in the Houston climate and the broader Gulf Coast region, when to plant them, how to harvest them, and three simple recipes that will take your herbs from garden to kitchen to glass. And I'm going to share a few personal stories along the way, including my kids' obsession with basil and mint, and the year I grew a basil leaf the size of my palm. Yes, really. Let's dive in. Alright, let's start with the growing basics. And I promise you, herbs are honestly one of the easiest entry points into gardening. If you've been intimidated by growing food, start here. Sunlight is your first consideration. Most herbs need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight. It's not Texas sunlight, it's in Texas, partial shade is perfect for growing herbs. Basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, they all love partial to full sun. But herbs like parsley, cilantro, and mint will absolutely love shade. The Houston area, afternoon shade can actually be a lifesaver during our brutal summer months. Now, let's talk about soil, because this is where a lot of people struggle in Houston. Our clay soil is thick, heavy, and honestly, it's a nightmare for herbs. Herbs need light, well draining soil. So, if you're planning to plant in ground, you've got to amend the clay with compost, lots of it. But here's my honest advice. If you're just starting out, grow your herbs in containers. Those large terracotta pots that go on sale in the winter months, self-watering containers, even those fabric grow bags, all of these will work beautifully. You get total control over your soil and you can move your herbs around based on the season. Let's move on. Watering is where consistency matters. You want to evenly moist soil, but not soggy soil. Herbs hate wet feet. In the summer, container herbs can dry out super fast. I am talking daily, sometimes twice a day chickens in July and August, especially. But in cooler months, you might only water twice a week. The trick is to feel the soil, stick your finger in about an inch deep. If it's dry, water. If it's still moist, wait. One of my favorite tips, and this came up at the nursery talk this weekend as well, it's to harvest often. Don't be afraid to harvest your herbs. People are so nervous about cutting their herbs, including me when I first started out. But here's the truth, the more you cut, the bushier and healthier your plant becomes. Snip basil from the top to encourage branching. Cut chives low at the base. They'll grow like magic. And always, always pinch off flowers before they fully form. But if they are already flowered, leave them be for the bees and other pollinators. They attract the pollinators so much better than a lot of other plants. And sometimes the flavor is very intense once the plant goes to seed. The leaves starts to become smaller. So if you want to make pesto from a basil plant, yes, please cut off the seeds. But if your goal is to use your basil plant as a companion plant or invite more pollinators in your garden, let them go to seed. You can always collect the seeds and save for the next year. Let me give you a quick planting timeline for the Houston and the Gulf Coast area, because our seasons are different from the rest of the country. Fall and winter, I'm talking about October to February, sometimes March. This is prime time for cilantro, parsley, dill, and chives. These cool season herbs thrive in our winters. The next is spring, March to May, June. Basil, oregano, thyme, and rosemary. Wait until after the last frost, which is usually early to mid March for us. Summer, most herbs just maintain. Basil loves the heat. Cilantro will bolt. Mint will look like it's about to throw up. Winter, keep your perennials like rosemary, thyme, and oregano. They actually will slow down, but depending upon the year we have, they will survive. You can also succession plant cilantro all winter long. Here's the beginner tip. Start with 3 easy herbs, and I usually recommend basil, mint, and chives. They are nearly impossible to kill, and you will use them constantly. The one thing before we move on is, let's talk about container versus in-ground planting. I get asked this all the time. Containers give you more control, portability, and better drainage. In-ground planting gives you less watering or less maintenance once established. Personally, I do both. I keep basil, parsley, chives in containers in my raised beds and also in containers. But mint, I keep it in the ground just because it's easier to maintain and it's a perennial, and I also use it as a ground cover. Okay, story time. My kids are obsessed with basil, and I mean obsessed. Every single year, I grow at least 3 to 5 different varieties of basil. We got your classic Genovese, Thai basil, those gorgeous purple stems, lemon basil that smells like a spa, and sometimes I'll throw in a purple basil just because it looks stunning in the garden. And my kids, they are out there grazing on it. They'll just pluck a leaf and pop it in their mouths while we're watering or checking on other plants. We use basil on everything: homemade pizza, fresh caprese salads, or pasta, or even turn over scrambled eggs in the morning. Here's my favorite thing we do: pesto. Lots and lots of pesto. I make big batches of pesto in the summer and freeze it in ice cube trays. And then pop those little pesto cubes in soups, pastas, and salad all year long. My kids even request pesto pasta for their school lunches. That's something both of them will actually eat. Now, let me tell you about one particular year. I was browsing Baker Creek, rareseeds.com, their catalog. Um, I stumbled upon this variety called mammoth basil. The name alone got me. So I ordered the seeds and planted them and waited. When those leaves started coming in, I could not believe it. One leaf was literally the size of my palm. My daughter held it up to her face and it actually covered half her head. She was a baby then. We were all standing there in the garden, laughing and taking pictures. And the pesto I made from the mammoth basil, incredible. The flavor was very rich, the texture was perfect, and it didn't take much to make a full batch. It was one of those gardening moments that just makes you fall in love with growing food all over again. If you've got kids, or if you just love basil, grow multiple varieties. Let them taste the differences, make it fun. Because when kids see food growing and get to participate, they become adventurous eaters. And that's a big win in my book. Alright, let's head into the kitchen. My first recipe is a herb compound butter. And this is one of those things that sounds so fancy, but it's ridiculously easy. Here's how you make it. For ingredients, I use 1 stick of unsalted butter, softened, 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh herbs. I love using parsley, basil, chives. Sometimes I add in oregano and rosemary as well. Half a teaspoon of lemon or lime zest, a pinch of salt and pepper. Mix everything in a bowl until well combined. Lay out a piece of parchment paper, spoon the butter into it, and roll it into a log. You can twist the ends like a fancy candy wrapper and chill it in the fridge for at least an hour. You can also make like dollop of butter and freeze and cool it in a parchment paper, and then freeze the butter discs. That's it. You can now use this gorgeous gourmet looking butter onto eggs, bread, naan, pasta, veggies, meat, anything and everything. Someone asked me recently, what herbs grow well together? I told them chives and parsley grow really well. They love the same conditions and foods partial shade, consistent moisture, well draining soil, and they are both cool season herbs. So grow them. You can grow them together in a pot, and you'll always have what you need for a compound butter or a quick garnish. Here's a gardening tip for chives. Cut them low, almost to the base. they'll regrow really quickly, and cutting them back keeps them actually really productive. For parsley, harvest the outer leaves first and then let the center keep growing. It's like one of those cut and come again types of herb, meaning the more you cut, it'll more produce more. You can keep harvesting all season long without actually killing the plant. If you're feeling adventurous, you can add garlic or red pepper flakes into the butter, and it tastes amazing. Okay, let's talk about mint, because I know a lot of people are terrified of mint. Doesn't mint take over everything? Would it spread like crazy? Shouldn't I keep it in a pot? Yes, mint spreads. Yes, it's aggressive. And no, I don't grow mine in a pot. Here's why. My kids eat mint every single day. They love spearmint and chocolate mint, and sometimes I use ginger mint, orange mint, and there's actually a mint that tastes very similar to the gum juicy fruit. They'll grab handfuls of it while we're outside and then just chew on the leaves. They ask for mint in water bottles. I use mint constantly in my cooking, in salads, in chutneys, in teas, in yogurt sauces. So I do want an abundance of mint. I want more than I know what to do with. Here's my secret. I use mint as a ground cover under my fruit trees. It thrives in the partial shade, it stays green almost year round in Houston, and it suppresses weeds like nothing else. I don't have to mulch under those trees, my mint does it for me. Now, is it aggressive? Yes, but I do manage it. I move around the edges to keep it contained. I pull runners when they get too ambitious. And honestly, I'm fine with it spreading because I actually use it. So here's my advice. If you're scared of mint, keep it in a pot. But if you're a mint lover like me and you've got an amazing space where you actually want a low maintenance ground cover that smells amazing when you walk on it, plant mint in the ground and let it do its thing. Gardening tip for mint: it loves moisture. Don't let it dry out completely, especially in summer. And it prefers partial shade, though it'll tolerate full sun if you keep it watered. Also, there are so many varieties: spearmint, peppermint, chocolate mint, pineapple mint, orange mint, ginger mint. Try a few and see which ones your family loves. You might not like all of these, but I bet that at least one you will love it. Alright, herbs aren't just for food, they are also incredible for wellness. One of my favorite things to make is a DIY herbal spray. It works as a refreshing summer mist, a gentle bug repellent for the garden, or even air freshener for your home. 1 cup of water, a tablespoon of dried rosemary or mint leaves. If you're going to use fresh one, double it. You can also add in essential oil like lavender or bergamot if you like. Boil the water, add your rosemary or mint, let it steep for like 15-20 minutes, strain out the leaf. You can pour it in a spray bottle and use the essential oils if you want, and you can store it in the fridge. You can spray it on yourself, spray as used as a room refreshener, or even spray it on the bug sometime. Here's the cool part. If you use mint or rosemary, this will help deter aphids. If you use oregano, it will also deter some of the pests. It's not a miracle pest control. It's a very gentle, it's a non-toxic option that can help when you catch an infestation early. You can also add in some garlic to make it as a little bit more concentrated pest spray. Pest repellent, not a killer. These are not going to kill your pest. It is going to repel your pest. Okay, let's move on to gardening tips here. Rosemary loves dry soil. Lavender too. Do not overwater it. In fact, rosemary is one of the herbs that thrives on neglect. Too much water, it'll get root rot. Let the soil dry out between waterings. Give it full sun, it'll be happy for years. Rosemary is a tender perennial here, so you can plant it once and enjoy it forever. Mint, on the other hand, loves moisture and can handle shade. It is perfect on an ingrown bed or under trees or on the north side of your house. Okay, now let's sweeten things up a little bit with the basil simple syrup. This one is so fun for summer drinks and it's a great way to use up a big basil harvest. Here's what to do. You need 1 cup sugar, 1 cup of water, and 1 cup of fresh basil leaves. Combine the sugar and water in a saucepan over medium heat. Stir in the sugar until completely dissolves. Remove from heat and add the basil leaves. You don't want to boil the basil leaf, they'll turn brown. Let it steep for about 10 minutes. Strain out the basil and pour the syrup into a jar. You can store it in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. You can use it on a lemonade for a herbal lemonade. You can mix it with sparkling water to make a fancy mocktail. Or you can drizzle it on strawberries. You can even make like fancy salad dressings mixed with balsamic vinegar. Or you can, if you're into baking, you can make cakes. You can make cocktails. There is no end. My kids love it in their lemonade. It makes them feel like they are drinking something special. For gardening tips for basil, it loves full sun, but in Houston summers, give it a little afternoon shade. Basil can get stressed when it's like 90 up above, and they will go to seed. Once it starts flowering, the leaves get very strong. It gets a very strong taste. The plant focuses its energy on creating seeds rather than on creating leaves. So if you want pesto, pinch off the buds. But if you want to invite more pollinators and if you're tired of pesto already, let them go to seed and collect the seeds. And basil is super easy to propagate. You can take a cutting and root it, or you can just collect the seeds and save it. You will have a whole new plant for free. Before we wrap up, let me give you a few rapid fire herb tips that came up in the talk this weekend. Cilantro bolts fast, like really fast in Houston heat. Plant it in fall and winter, and succession plant every 2 to 3 weeks for a continuous harvest. The moment we hit 90-degree days, cilantro is done. 90 to 100-degree days. Thyme and oregano are perennials. You plant them once, they'll come back year after year. They are drought tolerant once established, and they smell amazing. Herbs attract pollinators. Let a few of them grow to flower, especially dill, fennel, basil, and oregano. You'll see bees, butterflies, and even beneficial insects like ladybugs that show up for the. It's good for your whole garden ecosystem. The rule of thirds. Never harvest more than 1/3 of a plant at a time. This keeps your herb healthy and productive. If you take too much, the plant gets stressed and struggles to recover. If you have more than you can use fresh, you can dry them. Tie small bundles with twine and hang them upside down in a dark, very well ventilated space. Once they turn crisp, you can strip the leaves and store in airtight jars. This works amazing for rosemary and oregano. I don't like to dry basil just because it loses the flavor. So there you go, friends. Herbs really are tiny plants with huge returns. They save you money. They boost your cooking. They add wellness to your daily life, and honestly, they are just fun. They connect you to your food in a way that's immediate and tangible. This week, I want to challenge you to try one of these recipes. Make the compound butter, mix up the spray, or sweeten your lemonade with a basil syrup. Then tag me on Instagram or Facebook at Vibrant Rainbow Gardens. I want to see what you create. If you want even more support, hop on my email list. Until next time, remember, your garden doesn't have to be big to be abundant. Start with herbs, tend them, love them, and let them return the favor 100-fold. Happy gardening, friends! Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Grow with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens. I hope it gave you some fresh ideas and grounded confidence to take that next step in your garden. If you loved today's topic, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps other local gardeners find the show. Want to go deeper? Grab one of my free resources, book a one-on-one consult, or check out my latest workshops at vibrantrainbowgardens.com. All the links are waiting for you in the show notes. Until next time, keep planting, keep growing, and trust your garden instincts.